Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Jess.
And I can't believe you haven't seen Get Out.
Well, in keeping with our theme, after 12 episodes, I have now.
You have now. I actually completely can believe you haven't seen Get Out. You don't like scary movies.
Yeah, literally the first thing I've written is, Dear God, do I hate spoopy movies?
Yeah.
Because it's not my jam at all.
Yes. Would you have voted for Obama for a third term?
I couldn't have voted for Obama for the first two.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a tell that we're Canadian, so... Anyways, moving right along, welcome back to I Can't Believe You Haven't Seen with Jess and Matt. We are on episode 12. We were actually just talking about how wild it is that we now have 12 episodes out there.
It's kind of crazy how fast that's gone. And thanks to everybody who's listened to any one of these episodes and has taken the time to download it or give us a shout out or whatever that is. It's kind of awesome. Even small but mighty audience, but it's still really cool that people listen to what we have to say and our complete and utter ridiculousness about movies.
That's not going to stop anytime soon.
No. So we just other people get to listen to it now, which is great.
Exactly. We're back to just you and I chatting. We had our special guest Ashley on our last podcast.
Yeah, Ashley's great.
She was fun. That was really entertaining. We're plotting, but I look forward to maybe having more guests on different episodes in the future. So
yeah,
if you're friends of ours, hit us up.
You know where to find us.
We can probably find a movie that you haven't seen. So
chances are good.
Because it is October, it is the spoopy season, the Halloween season, for those that enjoy horror movies, thrillers, whatever we classify this one as. It's definitely a horror movie, but it's a lot of different genres.
Yeah, we'll talk genre later. I have thoughts about this.
Yeah. But yeah, we figured this is sort of annual. You don't like horror movies at all. I'm not the biggest horror movie person in the world. So this is kind of like, I think once a year I warn you in advance of like, hey, let's watch this scary movie. So you have like 6 months to prepare yourself.
I was like, I think you're underselling just how little I like scary movies to anybody who doesn't know me. Like one a year, and I'm like, nah, I'm good for another 12 months.
Yeah, I had to warm you up to watching Parasite because you thought it was a scary movie.
I was gonna say, which in hindsight, there was no reason for me to take that long. But
this one there was.
Yeah. Weirdly, I have lots of thoughts, but to position this perhaps for folks who really don't understand how I do with scary things.
Yep.
You should also know that I have made Matt play video games before me, or I am playing games he has played, and made him tell me if there are jump scares or not.
Yes.
And there was one that, though it's called Gone Home, excellent video game, play it. I was playing it, you had played it well before I did.
Yes.
And as I was playing it, I'm like, there's going to be jump scares. And I think I threatened divorce.
Yes.
So...
We weren't married yet, but you threatened divorce.
I did, yeah. This is reasons why Jess does not do scary things.
Yeah.
I'm just a really jumpy person, so
it's
bad news.
Yeah. So there's a couple of jumps in today's, the movie for today's episode, which is a pretty, at this point, legendary one, even though it's a pretty new movie. It is from 2017. This is the film Get Out, which is directed and written by Jordan Peele, who before this movie was probably most known as half of the madcap comedy duo Key and Peele, which what a freaking left turn this movie was for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably talk a little more about Jordan Peele in a bit. It stars Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, Catherine Keener, Bradley Whitford, Caleb Landry Jones, Stephen Root, Lakeith Stanfield, and Lil Rel Howery. This movie, despite it being pretty firmly a scary horror-ish movie, made a pretty large splash in the culture. And not only in movie culture, but in like artistic movie scenes, and specifically in award scenes, it was nominated for 4 Oscars, which is wild, especially since those Oscars were for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Original Screenplay, which was its one win for original screenplay.
That's wild for for a directorial and written debut. Is that I am correct on that? Mm-hmm. And also for being a scary movie.
Totally.
I'm just going to use scary here.
Yeah,
because,
pretty unprecedented. Like, there really is not a lot of movies like this that got a lot of nominations. Our first episode ever was about The Silence of the Lambs, which was probably the exception to that rule.
Yeah.
And before that, like, I'm trying to think if there was much in between Silence of the Lambs and, I don't know, maybe Deliverance in the 70s. That, again, that one is sort of on the borderline of whether it's a horror movie or not. But it's not only that, it's remained in the culture for the 8 years since, to the point where relatively recently, the New York Times did a list of the best films of the 21st century, which was like a poll that they did of filmmakers and also of readers. And with the, I think this is the reader poll. I can't remember which poll, but they did a couple of them. It was number 8, which is, it just tells you how well thought of this movie is. And it's in, I'll just read kind of a section of like this top whatever amount of movies of the 21st century. So it's in the company of Parasite, Mulholland Drive, There Will Be Blood, In the Mood for Love, Moonlight, No Country for Old Men, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Spirited Away, The Social Network, Mad Max Fury Road, The Zone of Interest, Children of Men, and Glorious Bastards, on and on and on.
Like that's a list of movies of like some of my favorite films of time.
It's pretty insane that this movie was... I just still don't know how this movie ever got made, being that it was a debut of someone that's known as a comedian on Comedy Central.
I will say, though, and I've said this before, maybe not on this podcast, but if you've talked to me about this, there is something really striking about comedic actors, directors, writers, that you normally expect to be comedic, taking a rapid departure and doing something serious. Like, I think Robin Williams, I think Jim Carrey, I think any of those, even Adam Sandler, right? Oh, I just picked 3 dudes, which, ugh.
But, like, even people like Kristen Wiig has had that as well. Maya Rudolph has had that.
Yes, absolutely.
Amy Poehler hasn't quite gone the serious route, or Tina Fey haven't really, but...
No, Amy Poehler's busy doing an awesome podcast as well.
Yes,
so.
Yeah, good hang. That's a really fun podcast. Go listen to Amy Poehler. She's great. But this movie effectively, like, pivoted Jordan Peele's career in an absolute instant, to the point where he has now written and directed 2 other feature films and has started to produce some other ones. He'd produced a movie that was out earlier this year that wasn't received as well as his first 3, but you know, he went from this to a movie called Us with Lupita Nyong'o in it. That I haven't seen that one, or the other follow-up, Nope, which also brings Daniel Kaluuya back into that one. They are both incredibly well thought of in terms of the kind of films they are, and Jordan Peele effectively became, you know, comedic TV actor to horror movie auteur director overnight. So because I have seen the movie, as is tradition, I'm going to hand it over to the person that does really, really well with scary movies, because this conversation is going to be fun.
Okay, listen, I have a lot of themes I want to talk about. My notes are lengthy.
There's 1 or 2 in this movie to talk
about. 1 or 2,
about.
No biggie. Super chill. Don't even worry about it. But before I get into any of those, I think it's time that I just make this a regular segment.
Ooh.
It's going to be Jess live tweets movies.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I am so ready.
All right, here are some of my thoughts. Dear God, am I not good at spoopy movies? Great, the fucking Blumhouse Productions opener scared me.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
What the fuck? Anyway, Jesus Christ, he gets jumped and choked out. Is he dead? Okay, casually, we're just gonna move on to the next scene.
Yep.
Super. Glad she asked about a toothbrush. I always forget mine.
Yeah, we've both forgotten toothbrushes.
This GPS is very 2017. Oh my god, that brother's entrance.
Yep.
Who the hell is Jeremy? Liquor bottles being refilled with water? What a teenage thing to do. And then in
Some
brackets
moves.
I've written, never me, Mom. Couldn't be me.
No, that's a classic move. That one never gets old.
Yeah. Why does it feel like this entire fucking dinner is foreshadowing? Is Jeremy studying medicine or just taking straight cocaine?
Mm-hmm.
It's the tension I do not do well with.
Correct.
Dot. What the fuck is with this spoon, Missy? Which, lol, we get that later. A Windows phone?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark?
Yep.
Also very 2017. Who has family and friends arrive in fucking identical black cars? It looks like a funeral up in here.
With tinted windows.
Right? Yeah, it's super delightful. I
will say the tension comment. That's not even in movies. Like,
no, it's me in life.
To peel back the curtain here, it's currently the World Series in 2025. And our favorite baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays, is in the World Series.
For the first time in 32 years.
Jess does not deal with stressful sports situations well.
Correct.
You deal with them the same way you dealt with stressful movie situations, which is pillow close to all the way in front of face.
Or occasionally leaving the room. And I don't for movies, I have for sports. All right, here we go. A few other just quick rapid fire thoughts. Mm-hmm. Is this the fucking Stepford Wives for black folks? Oh my god, is that a fucking Hobbit door? Or do we hide Harry Potter here? I like Rod. That's one
Rod.
thought. It's just, I like Rod.
Do you want to take that one again? That sounds kind of suggestive out of context.
No, it doesn't matter. You
okay,
get it. Here
that's
we go.
Fair.
Why is this TV so goddamn old? Oh, so Jeremy's dead. And then 3 notes later, oh, hey, Jeremy, you're not dead. You know, and then there's a lot of other thoughts and, like, things that are great. I have a line about why the hell isn't she dying? Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's a whole thing. But this one as well. This is my last because this, I've written that goddamn deer head. And then in caps, I have named a friend of ours that I know has 2 stuffed deer heads in their home. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking about it with them. So shout out to them because if they listen to this, they're going to know that was my immediate thought.
Well, that's the episode.
Thanks
thank everybody for
coming.
listening. Rapid fire thoughts with Jess.
Honestly, it could be its own segment. Sometimes I just write stuff down. I mean, like, no, there was no, oh shit, he ran over his favorite wife this time. But,
hey, that's an all-timer. That one's going on the Hall of Fame.
We'll make that into the outtakes. Yeah, so that's my, like, I had a lot of thoughts. We can start with any of them, to be honest with you. Man, who are these people?
Which people are you talking about?
The Armitage family.
The Armitage family.
And
okay.
So I want to start with them because they cray, first of all.
They are. They don't begin that way, at
well,
least
they
to
don't
our
seem
portrayal.
to be. No. So for, spoiler alert for an 8-year-old movie. Okay,
yeah,
also.
so let's pause this, actually. If you haven't seen Get Out,
go watch it.
Get Out is one of those movies that if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's on everywhere for streaming. I found out that it's not only on Netflix, but also Amazon Prime and Paramount Plus, all in Canada. It's available everywhere. If you haven't seen it and you're at all remotely interested, or if you want to listen to this episode, please go watch it. This is one of those movies you only get to see for the first time once.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, good to see y'all.
What a world we live in.
You only get to see every movie for the first time once, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an arsehole about it. So I think the thing I wanted to start with is the Armitage family.
Okay.
Because you get introduced to Rose in the beginning, right? She goes and she's buying coffee and breakfast for her boyfriend Chris, and she shows up at his house, knocks on the door using her forehead, which I've done before. It made me laugh. Her hands are full, and she's there while he's packing a bag, because Rose and Chris are finally at this point in their life where they are going to, point in their relationship, rather, that they're going to go meet her parents.
Yes, 5 months they've been together.
He's going to go meet her parents.
Yeah.
And he asks her if they know he's black. Mm-hmm. And she says, no, but they're not racist. And I didn't write this down, but if that's not the fucking most white person thing to say, and as a white person, Jesus, can we stop that?
Yeah.
I was very like, oh, no, I have a black friend.
Now, her response to, I think, several of these, when you're seeing it on its face the first time, he asks that, and she says, no, they don't know. Why? And like the way she is really coming off about it, she's doing a little cool girl type of thing with it.
Sure.
Where it's kind of like, no, I haven't. Is that a problem? And it is seeming on its face that to Rose, there's no need in her mind for it to be mentioned ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. So, honestly, you get the tension of, like, it's a tension-filled situation because you're gonna go meet parents for the first time, and there's the racial tension in there, whether she thinks there is or not, and Chris has clearly lived this experience more times than I'm sure anybody could count.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And, yeah, so the meat and the potatoes of this movie happens at the Armitage home.
Yep.
In upstate New York.
Yeah, it's unclear, but it pretty much is portrayed as near New York City because Rose and Chris live in New York City. Upstate New York, New England, somewhere.
They've driven somewhere with forest, and now there's this big sprawling home, and Dean, her dad, makes a comment about how cool it is that there's not another house the closest house is across the lake or something.
Yeah.
And so they have full privacy, which So there's this level of like isolation that comes with it, and we can certainly talk about what that is like, but it's so white people, and I'm so sick as a white person. I'm sick of white people. Anyway, so they go and they meet, and it's immediately uncomfortable. Yeah. It is uncomfortable and tension-filled from the moment they arrive and they get out of their car. And I mean, there's a scene before that, and we'll come back to that because I want to talk jump scares, that also sort of sets Rose up as a bit of a, like, white savior girlfriend in a way. Yeah. And so she's already positioned herself in this way. And they get there, and her dad and her mom are awkward. Yeah. To say the least. Awkward,
but not in a, like... embarrassing.
Nothing endearing about it.
No, but like in a way that it's not like you're like, I'm thinking of a movie like maybe Meet the Parents, where it's like immediately, oh my god, everybody's embarrassing me. It's just they're kind of stepping on themselves in spite of themselves, not in a performative, like, they're like, oh, I just should probably, I say, yeah, this probably, yeah, this is like, it's not like, I am who I am, I'm a white person, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're trying, but they're really not.
Yeah, it's very much it reads, at least initially, as very much being that, like, what a lot of people fall into, where it's like, oh, it's like a whole family full of, but I have a black friend. Yeah. Is exactly how that feels.
Very performative. Right? Feels like.
Well, and I would vote for Obama. Would have voted for Obama a third time, and she does warn him her dad's going to say that, and you kind of think, okay, if that's the only thing, then that's really, like, that's almost endearing in a way, right? Like, if that's the only thing but everything's weird. Yeah. They're uncomfortable with him. Dean wants to take Chris on a tour of the house so he can see all the things. Yeah. His mom, or her mom rather, pardon me, Missy is a therapist. She's a psychiatrist. Dean is a neurosurgeon, and she's a psychiatrist. Ew, weird, but okay. That feels like a bad mix. And it turns out it is.
Well, good in one way.
Well, it's bad for a lot of people. But anyway, so she's, like, there's this whole thing about him smoking and how, like, they want to try and hypnotize the smoker out of him. Yes. Which is interesting and weird at the same time. And so you've got
Which they say Dean used to be a smoker at one point, and she cured him of it.
And he feels like vomiting whenever he thinks of a cigarette. Cool. And then the brother. Then we got Jer Bear. Who I believe she actually calls Jer Bear at one point. And he comes rolling in like a greasy redneck hillbilly.
Caleb Landry Jones, just as a person, the actor, just makes me laugh. when I see him. Like he has that awkward, smarmy, my hair's too long, I'm kind of unkempt, and I'm an incel.
Yeah, he's got a greasy incel vibe.
Yeah.
And it's amazing and terrible at the same time. Like, it's so well acted, but also gross ew.
Yeah.
So from the get-go, you are getting the impression that although this family seems like super shiny on the surface, they're really not.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of movies talk about that in general, right? We've talked a lot about movies and other media you and I consume about how, like, small towns and isolated places are not always as ideal as they seem, and it clearly, this family is not.
Yeah.
Some of the tension in the early part of the movie is that Rose is on Chris's side.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's setting it up as, like, her family versus him and her.
Yeah, and you definitely get the vibe that, like, because her brother is also going to medical school, but seems a little more, I don't know if he's home more or like he gives that persona of, like, but I'm on my own, I'm an awkward incel type of dude. And she gives the feeling that, like, no, she's in New York City trying to kind of distance herself from this a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives this whole persona. But it's the husband, wife, and 2 kids, and this white picket fence, and this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's... The Armitages, to me, are this epitome of white Americana.
And upper class white Americana, too.
Yes, and this very... we have a lot of... You can tell we have a lot of secrets. Because there's parts of this house that are locked. When he says we've locked the basement, due to a black mold problem, I've literally written black mold my ass in caps. Yeah. I didn't say that earlier because you're welcome. The foreshadowing in this, we're going to come back to in a moment. But from the get-go, and I didn't talk about this scene, but the actual opening scene of this movie isn't about Rose and Chris. The opening scene of this movie is a man we later learn is named
Andre,
who is called Logan later as well.
Yeah.
We learn Andre. A man we later learn is named Andre is walking down the street in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find the house he's going to.
Yeah.
Whatever that happens to be. He's on the phone with someone. We don't know who. We never learn who, really.
Well, we kind of do, but...
Well, but do we? We'll come back to that in a second. And then he is, and this is the man that I said, holy shit, was he just choked out.
Yeah.
He's basically lifted off the street.
Yeah.
And into this car. And he's not killed, but he is knocked out. Like, he's choked long enough that he loses consciousness, and then he is kidnapped by a masked man. We later, masked figure at that point.
Yeah.
The music playing in that we'll also talk about.
Oh, yes.
So good and so creepy. So there's this tension to start with, and it's already set up because he talks on the phone about how he doesn't like being in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Because he's the only black man in the suburbs, and you know what they do to you, and that's why he turns around and tries to get away. As this car, like, comes and U-turns slowly past him, and you know something bad is going to happen.
Yeah, not today. They're not going to do me like that, and...
You know what they do to motherfuckers around here or something. But it's white suburbia.
Yep.
And it sets up this dichotomy early on and this tension of white upper class Americana, because suburbs, especially white coded suburbs, tend to be upper middle class.
Yep.
Versus, I mean, in this case, I'm going to say, like, versus everybody else, but in this case in particular, black Americans.
Yep.
And so the Armitages are this interesting representation and really a stand-in for, I mean, a stand-in for all Americans. That's aggressive.
Yeah.
A stand-in for all white people either, because we don't all go that crazy.
No.
But stand-in for what that tension means and what that power really is, right?
Yeah, and the other part that does hammer that home that haven't mentioned yet, and Dean, the dad, does mention this when he's touring Chris around the backyard, is the fact that they also have a maid and another black man, groundskeeper. So he has his 2 black people working for their family, and Dean says, "I know how this looks," and gives the backstory as to, you know, we hired them to help around the house when his parents were getting old, and when they passed, they didn't have the heart to let them go. So he's giving this like background and context, but it, even though it's set in upstate New York, plants them into a history of, you know, what appears to be white people owning slaves, even though that's not what this is. That's the image it draws up.
Oh, 100%. And it's upsetting.
Yeah.
In that he says, oh, I know what this looks like. We didn't have the heart to let them go. Mm-hmm. But if you know what this looks like, huh? What do you mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just this, like, deeply unsettling thing from the get-go.
Yeah, and it's deeply unsettling, but at the time, it also is just sincere enough.
Yes.
That you would believe that this is kind of a clueless family thinking they're doing okay.
It really flirts the line of being, like, overtly racist and racism that props up a whole system that people don't pay attention to.
Yes. Right?
Those, like, more covert acts of microaggressions. Yep. And really that's, I think, the big thing for me from the get-go of this is the microaggressions.
Yes.
And it's the microaggressions upon which this entire movie is built. I think it's important, I should have maybe done this ahead of time. It's important to acknowledge that we are talking about a movie about racial tension as two very white people who do not have the lived experience of a single black folks, any one of these people in this movie, or any person of color. While I've identified myself as being part of other marginalized groups, obviously as being a woman and being queer, that does not mean that I understand what this is like. And so we are also talking from a place of privilege here.
Yep.
And if we say anything that is untoward or incorrect, I would love for people to call us out on it or call us in to fix it, as that's certainly not the intention, but there's a chance we're going to do that. So yeah, the Armitages are icky. And I'm not a fan. And they set themselves up as white saviors early on, right?
Yes.
So Dean with we didn't have the heart to let them go. We're going to keep them. And Rose with her, even with the scene with the cop.
Yep.
Because, again, we'll come to jump scares. But she has this whole scene where the cop asks him for his ID. And she's like, no, you're not going to ask him for the ID. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Like, just because he's a black man? I was the one driving.
Yeah.
So she set herself up as this, like, white savior sort of situation. Jeremy, I think, is more obviously not, because he talks about, like, do you do MMA, man?
MMA, yeah. It's a very funny detail, but it honestly is it is a very specific brand of young, affluent, white male.
100% it is.
Yeah, like, that just is, like, fascinated with people who beat people up for money. And it's, like, there's a whole subculture on that, and we don't have to get into it, because they don't really get into it, but it is a completely believable, like, small subtextual detail about a young man that age.
Yeah. And then Missy, the mom, who's the psychiatrist, who is literally set up as a savior because she's trying to help him, ostensibly, at least what you think in the beginning, is, like, help him deal with his cigarette problem and also his childhood trauma. And as a psychiatrist and as somebody who attends therapy and finds a lot of value in therapy and believes in the field of psychiatry, hello, Dr. Friend in Ontario, it's still this sort of doctor-patient relationship, which can sometimes have the power dynamic of being a savior. So this Armitage family is very much the saviors. I want to flash forward to the end of the movie.
Okay.
Or towards the end of the movie, where Chris is figuring out what the fuck's going on because he's in this tiny room in the basement. There's a deer head staring at him and this old ass TV. Yeah. And he's finally having things explained to him. But before he gets to the meat and potatoes of what's actually happening, Papa Armitage appears on TV. Grandpa. And he starts talking about who he is and this collective and how they have finally determined how to do coagulation, I believe. Coagula, that's what, no, coagulation is what blood does. Yeah. And so this whole process of coagula, and this is, you know, maybe one day too you can be a part of this, and like it's this same white savior language, but made much more clear that it's to save themselves, which is really often what white folks are doing. Yeah. The Armitages are gross. Yeah. But what collective are they a part of?
I mean, there's several different collectives. If you kind of look at it, they're both part of a medical community, with being a neurosurgeon and a psychiatrist. They're both, involved as, we'll call them Northeastern Americans, which people living in New England, New York are kind of a group of people that you would call different than somebody from the West Coast or California or the Southern US or the Midwest. So there could be that one. They also are, coming from wealth just by showing their house, their property, where it is. So there's kind of several collectives you could lump them into.
But what collective is Grandpa talking about? Because he's not talking about this collective of neurosurgeons.
No, what he's referring to is the collective of people that are there at the party.
Yeah, which feels like a really good segue into...
the party.
Party is a real strong word for what that was.
Shindig.
Nope.
Gathering.
No, I mean, it was like a line of identical black vehicles, like a frickin' funeral.
Yeah.
Shows up.
Convoy.
And all these people get out, and they're all white, and they're all real interested in Chris.
Yeah.
And it feels very much like he's on display.
Oh, yeah.
And you get the feeling, watching this movie, the tension that's built there is he's on display because he's the only black person at this party,
yeah,
quote unquote, that isn't working in the house.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mm-hmm. And he is getting, whereas the Armitage family is like trying to conceal their biases and anything else going on. The rest of the people, they are not.
No, they're flat out just...
Yeah, like there are jokes about, is the black man's penis bigger and is he better in bed? Ha ha, like not
aren't
even
you so
failed.
Strong? Let me grab your arms.
The one guy who used to be a pro golfer and refers to knowing Tiger. And well, let me see your golf form. And he's told him he's never played golf ever. And it's like, what in the ever-loving shit?
Yeah, it's really confusing because, it's unfortunately not surprising.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like, you kind of go like, holy shit, this is jarring. But it's unfortunately believable.
Yeah, this movie is so successful because the scariest part is that it's still accurate. Yeah. That's the scariest part of this movie. Mm-hmm. So this party, there's no food. They dropped the ball on a party there, pals.
Might have been what was a punch bowl, like drinks, I guess.
Sure, I'm just mad if I'm going to a party and you don't feed me, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
No, it's going to be a bad scene in about 30 minutes.
You understand how that works. But this is sort of the crux of the movie, because not only has Rose not told her parents that Chris is black, ostensibly, but she hasn't told him that there's going to be this big party. And when her parents are like, oh, Grandpa's party is tomorrow, and it's the same day every year because Grandpa always threw it on the same day every year, and oh, no, it's not. Yeah. And watching her, that she's insincere and knew this fucking party was coming. Yeah. You don't know what the party is in the beginning, but you know this party is coming. Yeah. Okay. What an absolute shit show of a bunch of just racist white folks all hanging out together. Yeah. And then you get Logan.
Lakeith Stanfield, who is a wonderful actor.
Just truly phenomenal. I really love him.
We watched Atlanta, the TV show, Donald Glover's fantastic TV series. He's a character called Darius in it. He is the best. Lakeith Stanfield, he's a great actor. He's also just like, every time he's on screen, I want an entire movie of him.
Yeah, I would watch him read me the phone book if those still existed. But he comes with a woman named Philomena, who looks to be about twice his age. Yeah. I have a note that says, wait, so he's not dead? They kidnapped him for this? What the shit? Yeah. Because he's not identified as Andre until after this.
Yeah, so he's the man in the original scene that's never named in the scene.
In the opening scene, yeah.
And he shows up, and you see that it's him, but it doesn't look like him.
No, his affect is different. His mannerisms are different, and their
clothes are way different.
And it's very much the same sort of thing that's happening with Walter and Georgina, who work at the house.
Yes.
Their affect is very strange. But they're older versus Logan, who seems to be more in Chris's age. And he comes up and makes some kind of comment about how great it is to meet him and tries to, like, give him a fist bump at one point. And Logan just grabs his fist like he's going to shake his hand.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the moment where Chris's unease sort of tips over.
Yeah, because he has a moment where he sees Logan at the party and it naturally kind of gravitates to him as like, oh, there's somebody else here that is going to have the same experience as me, and goes over and finds that that is not the case.
No, not even a little bit.
No.
And I have a note that just says, everyone in this whole town is just the good white people, question mark, and then it just gets worse as it continues. So every interaction Chris is having, he's trying to take photos.
Because he is a photographer.
Because he's a photographer by trade. And ends up having an interesting conversation with the last name of Hudson, a man by the last name of Hudson, who is a blind art dealer.
Yes, Stephen Root, who is... I always think this is really funny and wonder if his character from Office Space with the thick glasses, Milton, if this is just the natural progression of Milton gradually losing his sight.
And ending up in this movie. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so he has a conversation with him about how Hudson tells Chris he wishes he had his eye.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's funny because he's blind and that's unfortunate. No, don't worry about it. We're going to just physically try that for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just continues to get progressively grosser as it's happening. And then we have Hiroki Tanaka, who is the only other non-white person in this entire thing.
Yeah, there might be some others you could maybe consider a code as
he's
from
the
Latin America, but
the only named non-white person.
Yeah.
And what in the fuck is that opening line, my dude? Yeah, I didn't write down the exact opening line.
Oh, it's just this awkward, hi, I am this person. Can you tell us what is the biggest advantage of being a black person in America?
Yeah, it's this, like, tell us about the black experience, essentially. Which, gross. And then I've written, also, how are you the only other, like, why are you the only other non-white folk? I don't know how he snuck in there, but, so yeah, this whole party is just unsettling. Things are very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
And you're like, okay, gross. Weird, but like something weird's going on, but I don't know what it is, right? And Chris tries to bring things up to Rose and she laughs it off.
Yeah.
She laughs off everything for a really long time. For most of the time that they're at the house. It's, oh, haha, it's fine. Don't, like, she uses sarcasm, she uses humor, she tries to, like, brush it off and make Chris feel better about it. Everything's fine. And then it becomes apparent that it's not a joke.
Yeah.
But the crux of the whole thing is Chris, the photographer, has his phone. And he knows that Logan is... something's weird with his affect.
Yeah.
And the last 2 times he's tried to take pictures, it's been of like, Georgina and Walter. It hasn't happened.
Yeah, he's more using it almost as a viewfinder.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And so he wants to take a picture of this, this other man that is acting in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Takes his photo, and he's going to send it to his friend Rod, who... this is probably a good segue into Rod in a moment. But it sets something off. Yeah. He uses a flash on his phone. Logan's his nose starts bleeding like something's wrong with his brain. Weird. And he lashes out and starts attacking Chris. But it's deemed as an attack, I think, at that point. But it's almost like he's trying to get a point across really hard.
Yeah, and this is where the title of the movie comes from.
Because he starts screaming, "Get out!
Get out! Get out! Get out!" And the only other thing in that scene that really triggers you that something else going on other than the nosebleed is there isn't really a whole bunch of quote unquote effects in this movie, but there is an effect in Logan's eyes. And it looks like there is a cloud in his eye that goes away. So it's almost like there's something that's flipped.
It's cleared something up for him. Yeah. so weird.
And that's when it's, okay, well, let's go back. We have bingo to play. Let's go play bingo.
Yeah, so I have a couple of notes here, and it was about Logan, too, and I said, well, what the hell is this? Is this a warning with his nose bleeding? Mm-hmm. And then Missy's calming him down. So, like, the psychiatrist and the neurosurgeon take him away, and they're going to calm him down. And he goes, I think I need to go home.
Yeah.
And so they leave. And you're like, why is he married to this old white girl? Okay, cool, fine. But they're out. See ya. And then they're like, okay, we're going to play bingo. I need to read you my live thoughts about this.
Yeah.
White people playing bingo. That tracks. Wait, how does everyone have a line? That's not how bingos ever work for me. Oh, Jesus Christ, this isn't bingo, they're bidding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a really brilliant, like, flip of view. So as this scene is going on, you have Chris and Rose that have walked along the lakeshore, and they're having a conversation. He's talking about, like, that they said that was an epileptic seizure. My cousin has epilepsy. That's not what a seizure looks like. And she's going, I mean, my dad's a neurosurgeon. I'm not sure what else you would like me to do. And then he starts talking about, you know, the night before, which we'll get to at some point, but reliving, you know, the death of his mom, which has come up before. He's very emotional. He's not having a good time. She's consoling him. And intercut between that conversation, you see Dean at the gazebo running the bingo game. Then the next time it cuts back, you see the viewpoint from Dean of all the people sitting down, holding up their bingo cards, which maybe should be the first clue. But then when they cut back to it, and you see that people are suddenly holding their bingo cards up, and it looks like an auction.
Yeah. And isn't that, like, and when it's zoomed out, he's got this picture of Chris beside him.
Yes. Brilliant piece of filmmaking.
It's obvious what's happening, but like they all have bingo cards with a line, and I was like, that's not how bingo. Oh my god, it's not bingo.
It's not bingo.
The way they subvert your expectations, the way Jordan Peele subverts expectations in this movie is what makes this movie so great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That I think might actually have been the scariest part of that movie for me.
Yeah. There's a lot in the movie that, you know, for the whole thing, you're getting hints of something's not right in little bits. Some of it's in humor. Uncanny. Some of it's in weird, uncanny stuff. Some of it's with Walter and Georgina. Some of it's with, you know, the awkward Armitage family. It's and then the party is obviously very, very awkward, and it's just like, okay, this is comically uncomfortable, and these people are just caricatures. And it goes from just being like, okay, this is a certified bad time, to an, oh shit, this is a certified get the fuck out kind of time.
It's hence the movie title.
Yes.
Also certified bad time, all in like caps on the like, or like bad time TM. Yeah. Love it. I hope that that's not how this experience is for other folks. But yeah, it just is so brilliantly shot. Yeah. And the cutting between Rose, who's still at this point the supportive partner, and she goes, okay, well, we'll get out of here. Like, we'll leave. We're going to go. Yeah, and the other thing that happens just after this scene, where it really turns everything, is that Chris has the picture he's taken of Logan. He has texted it to his buddy Rod, and Rod has called him back and doesn't even sugarcoat it, and he says, that's Dre. He's like, you remember Andre, that guy that they went to high school, or like they knew him at some point in time, said he used to date somebody that they knew. Veronica, yeah. And so that, like, Chris had this inkling. He's like, I feel like I've seen this person, and I don't know why, and it doesn't clue in. And Rod's the one like, no, that's Andre. And he went, I knew I had seen him before. They're calling him Logan. So there's all these bits of, like, don't go to the white lady's house, man. Like, it's the humor of, like, it's not going to be a good time. They're going to blah, blah, blah. And so the turn of the auction, followed by that, is the, like, oh, we're in for something now. Yeah, something bad is certified bad time incoming. Yes. Also, I want to just talk a little bit about Rod and Jeremy as juxtapositions of one another, but both truth tellers. Mm-hmm. Because I think they are the two most honest people in this movie, save for maybe Chris. But even then, I'm not like Chris got a lot of other shit going on.
He's guarded. Yeah.
He's guarded, and also he's got a lot of stuff happening in this movie.
Does, yeah.
He's guarded for obvious reasons, right? The death of his mom, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy and Rod are the two who tell the truth most often, even if they don't mean to.
Yep.
So I think Jeremy is the most honest of the Armitages because it's clear from him that something is wrong. Yeah. And that he expects it to be bad. You just don't know what it is.
Yeah, you get the sense that he's the one that, like, he can't put the mask on. Like the rest of the Armitage family can.
He doesn't have the mask to put on.
Yeah.
Except he does. It's in his car.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who kidnapped the man who we now know as Logan/Andre.
Yeah, and once you piece it together and he talks about jujitsu and putting him in a headlock, and it's like, aha.
And at the dinner, the first night, he says he wants to try and do jujitsu at the dinner table. And you get the feeling he's just ready to start the party. Yeah. Without the party actually happening. Like, in hindsight, you get, oh, okay, that's what you were doing. Is you wanted to get this party started, so to speak. But he's the most honest of the bunch. Yeah. And Rod is the most honest from the get-go, because you're saying things, and I've said I like Rod. I like Rod.
Can I just say that, like, Rod is... Not only is Rod the most entertaining character in this entire movie, Rod is the reason this movie works as well as it does.
Oh, without him, there is no movie.
Oh my god, I fucking adore that man.
My bod's for Rod.
Oh, he's so good.
He is the point of humor in the beginning of the movie, because he's a TSA agent.
Oh my god.
Talking about how the next big scandal or the issue is going to be elderly because he patted down an old woman and he got in trouble for it. Yeah. And he's on the phone with Chris and Rose when they're driving out. And he's talking about, like, the dog. And then him and Rose are having this, like, fake flirtation situation. And you're like, oh, that's funny. He's buddies. Yeah. Cool. But he's funny from the get-go. He tells Chris, yo, this is a mistake. Don't be doing this. Yeah. He does all the fucking detective work, including for the actual detectives, because he's the TS motherfucking A, I believe is how he phrases it.
Oh my god, and he goes in, he predicts this movie before anybody else, even though he says it's some eyes wide shut sex slave shit.
He calls it. He calls it from the get-go, and then he tells Chris, that's what you're in here for, get the hell out. Yeah. He goes to talk to the detectives. He gets laughed out of there because nobody believes him, even though he has evidence on Google of Andre going missing.
Yeah, and I not only does he do that, but the detective he talks to, she brings in 2 other black detectives to hear the whole story, just so they can have a good laugh. And she's like, "Don't tell me I didn't do anything for you."
Yeah,
like,
don't say I never do anything for you. And so he's like, okay, fine, I'll take these matters into my own hands. My friend hasn't come home. I'm dealing with the dog. Yeah. And then Rod is the savior at the end, because Rod ain't got time for this bullshit. He's gonna go figure it out. And he does. And he saves Chris.
TSA handles their shit.
TSA gets shit done. Yeah. If there's one thing I've learned about this movie.
Is there a movie you can think of where a person that is like a public service worker or a government employee that does his job better to the, like, being the one that is the ultimate hero of the movie?
No.
Like, Rod is the hero we all need.
Paul Blart Mall Cop?
But that's a mall cop. This is government workers, like, stereotypically the most jaded people.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, and he's working TSA, which has got to be one of the most thankless, like, they put up with more BS at that job. And he is the hero the people need.
Yeah, I'm down. I like it. Rod is fantastic. That's the beginning and end for me. But he and Jeremy are the 2 most honest people in this whole movie. Yeah. We talked a little bit about humor. We talked, I have literally a note that says, let's talk Rod. So we've talked Rod.
Talked Rod.
We've obviously talked about the racial tension and sort of, like, the beginnings of what's going on. Yeah. But we haven't gotten to the actual what the fuck of this movie. And so I want to talk about the central tenet of this plot, but also the genre of this movie. So, Chris is hypnotized the first night to ostensibly help him with his smoking.
Yes. And he's reticent initially when they ask him at the dinner table about it.
Yeah, or when they're drinking or whatever.
And he only kind of, he doesn't even really accept it necessarily, but he's awake late and is going for a cigarette because he's stressed. And
wouldn't you be if you just had all these microaggressions thrown
yeah,
and some macroaggressions?
And so Missy is awake in her office and invites him in. And then, mostly to tell him, like, don't smoke. This is my baby girl. I don't want her dating a smoker.
Yeah.
And kind of just relaxes him enough to start telling her his life story.
Yeah, she basically picks his brain, and it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
But so Chris is hypnotized night 1, and he wakes up in the bed, and he's like, I had some really weird dreams, like I was in the middle of nowhere, and I couldn't scream, and nothing would happen.
The sunken
place. But, you know, I don't know, I think your mom hypnotized me, and she's like, oh, Rose says that's bullshit, in the sense of,
my mom did
I can't believe my mom would do something like that. Yeah. Not that she's telling Chris she doesn't believe him, but it's that. So you're like, okay, this is weird, because who does that to their daughter's boyfriend they've met for the first time?
And who, as a psychiatrist, does that without the permission of the person they're doing it to?
You can't. So that's a thing. And you're like, okay, so weird. I know something weird's going to happen with this. It has to. But you don't really know what's going to happen. And then you get to what's going on. Yeah. So you find out really what's going to happen is that, or what's going to happen to Chris is he ends up being hypnotized again. So there's a spoon with the mug, and that is Missy's thing. It is the pivotal, that's the focus point. Yep. Right? And so the focal point for him that allows him to have his brain open enough that he has open to more suggestibility, I think is how she phrases it. And that's what starts the first thing. But then they use that throughout. So it's this stirring of the teacup. Yeah. And he wants to leave before that, right? So he starts to figure out that something's not right. Yeah. And he says to Rose, hey, Rose, we need to go. Like, we need to get out of here. And she's like, yeah, let me go get my bag. He's packing his bag, and he sees this little tiny door in the bedroom. Yep. Which is what I said, oh, Harry Potter? Or is this a Hobbit door? Yeah. And instead what he finds in there, and it's interesting, I'm going to just pick on the color, it's a red box. Yep. And in the red box are a series of photos of Rose and other black men and one black woman. Yeah, as well as one as her as a child in a marching band and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, it's like it looks like it's cute photos of Rose, and then becomes a series of Rose with other in couple looking photos with other black folks. Yeah, and she has told Chris that she's never brought a black boyfriend home. Yeah, and this is that moment where he's like, oh, I have nobody. Yeah, and you can kind of see in the pictures, even though it's maybe not completely obvious until the last picture, you start comparing, and he's showing the two different pictures where it's two different black men that she's with, one with a beard, one without a beard, and you kind of go, okay, so she said two boyfriends, and then you see the third photo, and it's very clearly a young Georgina. And that's the part I remember watching the first time where I was like, and that's Logan, and that's Walter. Yep. Oh, shit. Yes. Yeah. And you're like, oh. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I didn't quite catch that Logan was in those pictures. Yeah. Because there is a comment later about how they'd prefer somebody should prefer this kind of being knocked out or whatever to Jeremy's. Yeah. So I just assumed Jeremy was trolling around and snatching people, but it would make sense that Rose is on the phone with him as well. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, all that aside. So this is the moment in the Hobbit door that he's like, oh shit, I have to go. So he's trying to get the keys from Rose and whatever. They get into the front of the house. Jeremy's got some kind of lacrosse stick in his hand, and the mom and dad are coming in, and Chris says, give me the keys, Rose. And she's like, oh, I can't find them. I can't find my keys. I'm so sorry, I can't find my keys. And eventually she stands up holding them in her hand and says, you know I can't give you the keys, right, babe? Yeah. And this is what kicks off the So, yeah.
Certified bad time TM.
Certified bad time TM. So Chris is then knocked out back into the sunken place. He ends up being carried down the stairs. There's this actually really funny scene that shouldn't be funny but is, where they're like, all right, well, Jeremy, you help your dad take him downstairs. This basement that's been locked due to black mold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, that's bullshit. People don't just lock black mold in the basement and hope that it doesn't spread to the rest of the house. Like, as a general rule with black mold, don't ignore it, it'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't ignore it, it will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Funny how that comes back, doesn't it? But anyway, so Chris ends up being carried, and in the sunken place, he's screaming, but you can't hear him. It's almost like he's in space.
Yeah.
And you see this little square window, like the cloud that's cleared in other people's eyes, and you can see what's happening in the real world while his body's being carried.
Yeah.
And there's this thing about, oh, Jeremy, don't drop him. And he's like, I won't. She's like, you've done enough damage already. And he's like, it'll be fine. And then you just hear a thunk, and he goes, oh, that was my fault.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
And it shouldn't be funny.
It's so good,
but it breaks the tension just enough that it's funny.
This is why this movie works so well in so many ways, because Jordan Peele is just like, no, but this is really funny.
Jordan Peele does such a good job of balancing the humor. Like Rod in the detective scene, this moment, even some earlier ones where Rose is playing things off with sarcasm, and you kind of have a giggle. There are a lot of moments in this movie that are funny.
Mm-hmm. Very much, yeah.
So anyway, the tension of he's being carried downstairs, you don't know what's going to happen to him. He wakes up, he's strapped into this chair, he's scratching at it with his hands, and he can't get out, and he can see the deer head in this shitty old TV, which is where he starts to have the whole thing told to him. Yeah. So this is when Grandpa Armitage shows up and says, hey, the collective has learned how to coagulate, blah, blah, white stuff. Yeah. And then it moves on to, he goes out again because we stir another teacup, because I will never stir a teacup again, for the record.
Yeah, we don't have teacups. We have coffee mugs, but...
it doesn't matter. Spoons are out. Sorry, learn to stir it with a
stir around, not stir up.
Yeah, I don't know. Stir it with a straw. Anyway, so he goes out again, and when he comes back to, it's the art dealer. Yeah. Who's telling him what's going to happen to him, and I'm supposed to be here to answer any questions. And he says, other people have wanted life or strength or whatever, and it flashes back to this gross ass party where all these people are asking these really invasive, really racist questions, and you suddenly realize the reason they're asking is because they're trying to determine if they wish to bid on Chris or not, so that he can be their body. Yeah. And their consciousness will live in this black person. Yeah. Which is why you have Walter and Georgina and Logan.
Yeah, and that's where you also get the callback of him mentioning some people want youth, some people want strength, some people want this. I didn't give a shit about that. I don't care about race. I want your eye. And he's a blind art dealer, and he is recognized in him his artistic talent, which is why when they have the conversation at the party, it's the most normal conversation, because he does not give a flying fuck about that. He is an art dealer, and very clearly this is now the motivation for him, which is why he has a more normal conversation, because he can talk on him with an artistic level.
Yeah, and you kind of, at that moment in that conversation earlier in the party, you're like, oh, maybe this is the one dude who doesn't suck. Yeah. Because it's a natural conversation about art, but he does mention how he's a failed photographer. Yes. How he became an art dealer because he wasn't good enough to be an artist.
Yeah, he submitted to National Geographic 15 times and got rejected all of them, and that's when he realized he wasn't any good. Right. So he became a dealer.
And so he doesn't have the eye, but he sees the eye in Chris. And you're like, okay. And then in that scene where it cuts away and they're playing the fucking bidding bingo. Yeah. And he's there, and I was like, ew, no, you've let me down, just like every other person in this movie. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Chris has been bid on and has been won by this art dealer, because essentially he's going to import his consciousness into Chris's body and be able to see.
Yeah, and he kind of, the reason he's telling them, and it's a little bit of a, I'm the James Bond villain, I'm going to tell you how I did it, and I'm so smart. But there's a little more, he's like, because this is part of the pre-op procedure. Yes. And he's like, what do you mean pre-op? And it's like, well, they're going to take a bit of your brain or like they're going to take a tiny bit of my brain or a good amount of it, put it into your body, and you'll be a passenger. I'll be piloting your body, basically. It's a very Being John Malkovich type of situation. A
lot of Being John Malkovich.
Yes, even Catherine Keener.
As we discussed.
Yeah.
And the little tiny door with the red box. Anyway.
That too. Anyway. Even the sunken place, it looks like when he goes down the chute. Watch Being John Malkovich.
I was like,
it's fantastic.
Just go watch that too. Yeah. Anyway, so Chris learns that this surgery is going to happen, and then you see that the Judd, whatever his name is, Judson, is Hudson Judson. That's his name now.
Hudson. I can't remember his first name.
Oh, Hudson Judson, the art dealer, is having his head removed. The top of his head removed. So he's having his scalp taken off. And
lobotomy time.
And then having his skull taken off. And, that is maybe the part that was the grossest for me.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of gross stuff in this movie.
Which is kind of nice.
There's some violent stuff at the end, obviously, but... even when they hit the deer at the very beginning, there isn't gore other than, blood on a headlight of the car.
Yep.
Really?
Okay, so that happens, and you're like, okay, this is bad news for Chris. Mm-hmm. And Chris is about to become one more passenger in this situation. And then the cup gets stirred again, and he passes back out. And Jeremy comes to take him away so that they can have the surgery done. And it turns out Chris hasn't passed out at all because he's pulled cotton out of the arm of the chair and put it in his ears.
Yeah, so the reason he could do that is because when it flashes to his childhood, when he was sitting in front of the TV waiting for his mom, he was nervously moving his hands. And when he was first hypnotized, he was nervously moving his hands. And when he's hypnotized, anytime you can see that. And after it happens, you can feel him feeling like, oh, I've scratched this leather so hard that the stuffing's coming out. And that's his impetus to go, this is how I'm going to get around that.
Yeah. Real quick question, though. If his hands are in restraints, how does he get that into his ears?
So I wondered that this time. I didn't think that the first time I watched it. Only his hands and feet are shackled. I'm guessing he probably got his head close enough. So we're now doing this. I'm moving my head. It'd be close.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for me, but my body's broken. So
that's fair. It's probably plausible.
Doable.
Sure.
So he's got this cotton batting in his ears. It means he doesn't hear it. He doesn't go out. Jeremy tries to get him. He hits him with a bocce ball. It was a croquet ball. It was one of the two. So he hits him twice, and I'm like, oh, Jeremy's dead. Jeremy's not dead. Jeremy appears later.
I'm not
quite dead. He does end up being quite dead. But anyway, so he gets out, he goes, and he takes that fucking deer head. And the symbolism of this deer, from when they hit it at the beginning, which we haven't really talked about, until it is what he uses as basically a battering ram to kill Dean. Yeah. He just runs at him full speed with this thing and takes the horns, antlers is the word I want, takes the antlers to him.
Gores him with
the antlers. Yeah. Which is great.
It's also doubly great because at the beginning when they talk about hitting the deer on the way there and they say, oh my God, are you okay? They say, oh, it's just the car. It's we're fine. We're a bit shaken up. And Dean has this weird, awkward, oh, you did me a favor if you asked me. The deer just overrun this place. Anytime I see one dead on the side of the highway, I think, well, that's good. There's too many of them. Well, howdy.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that speech, and I have a note about it, and I can't believe I didn't actually talk about it when I was talking about the white people being white people. Mm-hmm. But if that's not the most racist coded thing that's said in this movie, I don't know what is.
Oh, yeah.
There's too many of them, and you're doing me a favor, and I always think when I see one dead on the side of the road, good, there's one fewer. Mm-hmm. And there's a little part of me at the beginning that's yeah, deer can overtake things for sure. Yep. Okay, because they can be an invasive population, but as he's talking, you're you're not talking about deer, you're talking about black people.
Well, and you kind of, again, that's one of those very carefully put in there things that if you were an upper class white person living in the bush in upstate New York
Yeah.
And deer overrunning you is a problem. Like, they're probably in there, I don't know, ruining their flower gardens or something. It's absolutely within the realm of possibility for a boomer old dad to be like, oh, it's deer. I'd get rid of all of them in a second if I could. And it is entirely believable. And then when you get to the end, you go like, yeah, that wasn't just the deer we were talking about.
Yeah, no, I actually don't. I read it as being racially coded immediately as he's talking, because everything else in this movie had led me to that point. So even before the fucking beautiful poetics of him being rammed to death by that deer, that dead deer head. So yeah, it's this wild, it's wild.
Yes.
Yeah. So he kills Dean. The house gets set on fire.
Yeah, because he knocks over a light in the surgery room and
it catches the thing.
Fire. Yeah.
So the house is now slowly filling with smoke. Nobody talks about this fire at all. We cut to Rose, who, by the way, when we found that box of photos, my note actually says, "No, Rose!" I knew I didn't trust this bitch. So there's one thing I've learned during this movie is that I don't trust a lot of anything, which is maybe because I was so worried about how scary this movie was going to be that I trusted nothing.
On guard from the beginning.
Pretty much. That's why I'm such a jumpy asshole. Anyway, so essentially the house is burning. Jeremy gets free and is going to stop him from leaving, but he can't. Almost does. But don't worry, because Chris is wonderful and manages to steal the doorknob when he's slamming the door, and he stabs him in the leg.
No, he doesn't steal the doorknob. He steals the knife that was stabbed into his hand by Missy just before that.
Oh, definitely thought it was the doorknob.
Yeah, he runs across Catherine Keener, knocks the teacup away so that she can't re-hypnotize him. Yeah. And she goes for like a letter opener and stabs him in the hand, and he just stands up to her, rips it out of his own hand, and slices her. And so he has it on him. And then when Jeremy goes to like, keeps closing the door on him as they're struggling, and then the next time he goes to close the door with his leg, then stab right in the leg. And...
Okay, I saw stabbing. I didn't quite catch.
Yeah,
the point is, he gets stabbed, so he's out. He's actually dead now, for real.
Yeah.
And there's a really violent moment of Chris basically curb stomping him.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I want to talk about that moment of violence, if only because I was not as upset about it as I often am. It is unsettling, for sure, but you kind of understand. You understand why he's gotten this violent.
Yeah, it's a little like, and we talked about a bunch of the other movies in the New York Times poll that Get Out was up there with. It feels in a way to me like the, and again, spoiler alert for another movie that's even older than this, but the ending of Inglourious Basterds, that is incredibly violent, but it is people invoking violence towards people involved in Nazi Germany, and it's insanely violent, but there's a catharsis about it within the themes of the movie. They also don't, they make pains not to show any of the gore with it. They just, you see what you see and you hear the sound you hear, and there is no more movement. And so you get exactly what's gone on without a David Cronenberg shot of seeing somebody's head exploded on the floor.
I do not need that. Thank you. Not for Jess. Nope. We will not be doing one of those movies in this.
No.
Anyway, so there's the stomping his head in moment, and the smoke is filling and he's getting out of there. And you cut to, at varying points of this, Rose sitting on her bed, looking up the next person she's going to victimize, basically, and she's got her headphones in listening to pop music.
It's I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing, which is a great touch.
And now behind her on the wall are all these framed photos that were not there before. They are trophies.
Yep.
If that isn't the same as that deer being a trophy.
Yep.
So gross. Rose ends up going out and trying to shoot him. He gets the car. He's getting away. She ends up with Grandma and Grandpa.
Georgina and Walter.
Trying to take him out. It doesn't work. There's a car crash. It's fine.
Can I put a pause on this for a second?
Yeah.
Because I actually want to ask about Walter and Georgina.
Oh, sure. They were on my... Go for it.
At what point in this movie did it come to you that Grandma and Grandpa were inside of Walter and Georgina?
When she calls them Grandma and Grandpa.
Near the end? Okay. Yeah, and that was... There, watching this movie a second time, and I know this won't be an experience you ever have, but having... You
might be surprised.
That's fair. But I hadn't seen this movie since I watched it originally.
Okay.
When it came out 8 years ago. So watching this a second time at this point was really, really interesting because the crumbs are everywhere.
Oh,
in this
absolutely.
movie for so many
no
things.
Question.
And the crumbs about Georgina are not really there. But for Walter, they are, because in the house tour, Dean is going around showing a picture of their grandpa, who lost to Jesse Owens.
Oh my God, I'm just getting that
in the
now.
1936 Olympic trials, so he didn't get to go to Berlin, and talked about the, Jesse Owens went and rubbed it in Hitler's Aryan race bullshit. And then the other part we haven't mentioned is when Chris goes out for the cigarette the first night before he gets hypnotized.
I'm just getting it.
Yeah, Walter is out there running around getting exercise, but he's sprinting like he's a 100-meter dash sprinter. Nothing happened. It's kind of terrifying, but you're like, oh shit, nothing. He just turned around, and he apologized for it later. But that's the crumb. That's the only crumb that's there from Grandpa to Walter before the very end. And watching it the second after the movie was done the first time, I was like, oh shit, that was right there the whole time. But there is so many of those little moments of crumbs where you're just like, God, this is the smartest fucking movie I've ever seen.
It's so smart. Yeah. Like, Jordan Peele has crafted such a great movie. The foreshadowing is unreal in this movie. Mm-hmm. From the opening scene all the way through to the end, from the way he crafts the people, like the little bits and bobs of here, there, and everywhere. It's just, it's so good. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Grandma and Grandpa, I did not know were Grandma and Grandpa until the end. Yeah. Until she calls them, you get him, Grandma, and go ahead, Grandpa. And I was like, holy shit, how did I miss this?
Yeah, and then you also see them with the lobotomy scars, right? Like, because her weave is pulled up, and Grandpa doesn't have a hat on anymore. Walter doesn't have a hat on anymore.
And you're like, but like, not until she uses the name. Mm-hmm. And then they all end up dead, except for Chris. And the savior comes, and it's Rod. Yeah. And he gets in his TSA car, and they leave. Yeah. Rod says, I told you so, basically, which is funny as all get out. But I'll get out like that. But I want to talk a little bit about genre in this movie. And I know I just given the whole plot, and I feel
that's part of the fun to discuss this.
So I came into this movie expecting it to be very scary. Yeah. Because that has been how this movie has been sold to me. Yes. And on the one hand, this movie is deeply bone-chillingly terrifying. Yes. Because these people still fucking exist. Mm-hmm. And because Jordan Peele can make this movie, because I have a sneaking suspicion this is the experience he's had as a black person, save for maybe having his brain actually implanted into a white person.
That's fair.
Right. And is probably the case for a lot of folks of color. Mm-hmm. I, again, cannot speak to that from my own experience. Yeah. But we can see what's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. This movie was not traditionally what I would call a scary movie. There are a couple of jump scares. Mm-hmm. The deer jumping into their car when they're driving out originally. Yeah. Which makes that deer come full circle so good. Yep. Also, because there's the thing with the eyes we talked about. Mm-hmm. There's a thing, he has that moment with the deer when it's dying. Yep. He has that moment when he looks at that deer head on the wall. It's the eyes. Yep. It's all about the eyes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Because they're the window to the soul, and that's why you can only... Anyway. Oh, fun. Poetry. But there's the jump scare with the deer. Mm-hmm. There's the jump scare to me when Jeremy comes back, because you think he's dead and then he's not dead. Yep. And he comes around the corner and there's a jump scare there. Mm-hmm. And there's a jump scare when Andre is kidnapped at the beginning.
Yes. There's also a couple of small ones with Georgina appearing, just leering. Yeah. And just looking over. And you do get an impression at some point, and Chris makes kind of an allusion to this, because he keeps finding his cell phone being unplugged. Yeah. In their bedroom, and he keeps oh, somebody's unplugging my phone, somebody's messing with me, and he takes that to mean that it's Georgina, and there's a little bit of a racial stereotype at play there that you see in some movies by somebody like Spike Lee, where the the black man and the white woman being together, and who's most upset about that? The black women.
Yeah.
Because why are you taking one of our men? And so he kind of, that's where he goes immediately. So there's a few jump scares in there, not of like a boo scary, but of just Georgina's looking at him almost like she's spying on him to give more of that like MacGuffin impression that that's where this is going.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't go that way.
No, it's a bit wild. But yeah, is this actually scary is my question. And yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
But this doesn't fit into my traditional horror movie
No.
expectations. So thanks, because every time we watch a spoopy movie, you've managed to subvert that, where I'm like, oh, it's going to be so horrible and jump scary. There's not a lot of violence in this movie on screen.
Nope.
There's not a lot of jump scares in this movie on screen. This does not fit your traditional narrative of what I would call a scary movie for Halloween.
Yeah.
But it is deeply terrifying.
It is. It's almost like I know you.
Yeah, almost. And it's a subject matter that's deeply terrifying.
Yes.
Right? On that note, and this is, I have like some movie things I want to talk about, but before I do that, we've got a neurosurgeon dad.
Yep.
We've got a psychiatrist mom. We don't learn much about what the other, I mean, ostensibly Jeremy's going in to be a doctor, so probably going to follow in his dad's footsteps. At least that's the idea. We don't really know what Rose does.
Nope.
Fine. Maybe she'll be a psychiatrist too. Who knows? She won't. She's dead now. With her trophies on the wall. I knew I didn't trust this bitch. I didn't trust anybody from the beginning of this. But there's a lot of being made of brains and minds.
Yeah.
Being two things but the same.
Yeah.
Right? And it's kind of a central tenet of why this works. And there's this whole conversation about why these like shitty white people want to inhabit the bodies of these young black folks because they are stronger, they are faster, they are going to be better golfers, like that Tiger reference.
Yeah.
Is the insinuation of this movie that black folks have weaker minds but stronger bodies?
I think probably. Like, I think a lot of the, there's some insinuations, and I'd be interested to do a little bit of reading. I purposely didn't do too much reading before this because I knew we were going to watch it again. Was like Jordan Peele very clearly has some influences with this, whether it's horror movie influences,
sure,
whether it's stuff like being John Malkovich is a pretty clear influence on this movie.
I think that's fair.
And a lot of other things, but there is a part of a movie like Being John Malkovich that hits on something that this movie also does as well, without the racial bit. In that, again, spoiler alert for Being John Malkovich, fast forward a bit if you want to watch that movie again, or for the first time. Part of that whole portal into John Malkovich's head and living as John Malkovich is that there's all those old people that Cameron Diaz meets, and we are going to live forever in the head of John Malkovich because he is young and talented, and we have discovered a portal to his head. So
as one does.
It's a bunch of people that are getting on an age that want to live forever, and they've found a way to do that with this supernatural portal into John Malkovich. There is a little bit of that at play here, where it's these people that are all getting older, that are all affluent, that want to continue to live a legacy, but also kind of be like tourists in another person's body. And like I'm a blind person and I'm an art dealer, so I want to know what it's like to be a successful photographer. Because I know what's good, I just know that I'm not good at taking it. But you do. And I want that lived experience. Yeah. If it's the woman Philomena, I want to know what it's like to be married to a black man. And Logan, I want to know what it's like to be a black man.
Yeah.
Who's married, to satisfy my wife, whatever that is. Like, so there's a bit of wanting to live forever and a bit of the grass is greener and I want to experience that because I have money and power.
Sure.
And,
yeah. Obviously black folks are disposable to these people.
Very much, yeah.
Which is disgusting. And this is the deeply unsettling part of this movie, is how easy it is to believe that. But for me, it's playing on, you talked about the stereotype of a black man dating a white woman who's upset. Mm-hmm. There is that. Also, there was the stereotype, he talks about Walter and how Walter seems to hate him when he meets him, and things are weird and deeply unsettling, and he thinks it's because Walter wants Rose. Mm-hmm. So there's also that, like, also wanting a white woman, so there's that stereotype as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason that this works, quote unquote, for the Armitage family is the stereotype that black folks are stronger in body but weaker in mind. Yep. And that is a horribly damaging stereotype that exists and has for so very long. You go as far back as, trying to attribute mental characteristics to physical characteristics, and Venus Hottentot and all these other,
absolutely,
all these, the I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's the characterization of humans basically, and like the ranking of men. And why?
I'm not. I don't recall the name. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's that medical study, quote unquote. But really, it's awful, and it's just about like facial characteristics and all these things. And that's the one thing. It's the only thing I could think of while I was watching this. Is like, this is why. Because I think at one point somebody says, "But why black people?" Yeah. And Chris asks this question. That's why. Yep. Because they think they'll be able to take them over because they're weaker of mind, quote unquote.
Grandpa wanted to actually be able to make the Olympics. And how are you going to run fast? You're going to be Jesse Owens. And it's the same thing with, and in a way, it's Hudson, the art dealer. Hudson Judson. He's the epitome of a person that is not on the same wavelength as everybody else at that party, of going, body yes, mind is disposable for black people. He doesn't see that. He's the only one
who does the other thing.
But he sees like the artistic eye versus the thing I don't have. Yeah. And he's the only person that does not care that he's a black person, but he does care that he is artistically talented, and he will absolutely still abuse the same system that the people with a lot of the racial
he's still a rich white person benefiting from being a rich white person of privilege.
And I think as far as it makes the dynamic at that party not one note, which again is one of the... There's a lot of things that are really wonderful about the way this is plotted, and we've talked about how great Jordan Peele does with it. Phenomenal. But also enough in there that there's but there's also this person that doesn't get down with this, not so subtly racist bullshit, but still takes advantage of the same power structure and system that's there.
And isn't that just what racism is, right?
Yep. Very much so. If you there's so much about the go back in the history of movies is an interesting one, especially Hollywood movies, about the caricatures of black people as servants. Go back and watch something like Gone with the Wind. Actually, don't. Gone with the Wind is not a very good movie.
We've talked about that on this podcast before. How you feel about that?
But there is all of these ideas of caricatures and how people are portrayed. And, did everyone in Hollywood think the way this was? Absolutely not. Did anybody do anything about it? No. Did people still make money off of it? Of course they did.
It's the structural racism, right? This is the system of inequality upon which everything is built, right? And this isn't the only one, and I could talk to you about intersectionality and the experience of folks, and where that, systems of oppression intersect, and what that is like for certain folks versus others. And it's not to suggest that you are the only one is racial inequality. There's a lot. This is the one most noted, and I think right now in our current socioeconomic political climate is also the scariest because of how obvious it is. And it's for folks of color in general. Yep. This movie is making a very specific point for a very specific reason by a very specific director, but you can generalize this out, and that's what makes this so fucking scary.
Yep. And we're also at this time when this movie comes out, we're also just under 2 years into the first presidency of the Orange Man in the U.S.
The Orange Oligarch is in his first run. Yeah. And had we known then what it was going to be? Anyway.
Well, we're in Canada. We don't have anything to be able to do. Vote him out.
It's just wild to think that when this movie is made, we're thinking, oh shit, I can't believe this is happening. Yeah. And then they took 4 years off and did it all over again. And
Yep.
it's so much worse the second time around. And
Yes.
I'm not surprised. And it's,
Nope.
again, deeply upsetting, unsettling, and that's the scariest part of this movie.
Yeah, and this is there's a long line of movies that came out, I think, in this point in time, and even are still coming out, that deal in different ways with the certified bad time TM that is going on for a lot of different people.
Yeah.
We just watched Eddington earlier this year.
Excellent movie. Definitely see it.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing for a very different lens. And it's this, like, there used to be a phrase in the late 90s called pre-millennium tension. It's actually a really good trip hop album called Pre-Millennium Tension as well. But it was the like,
The things you know.
I know. It was this idea of the changing of the millennia, and whether it was the Y2K phenomenon of, oh, the computers are all going to die. Like, that's a symptom of this pre-millennium tension. And there isn't really a name for it at this point in time. It's just that, everybody is on social media looking at how everything is bad and everything is on fire and everything is awful, and oh, look at these cute corgis at the same time. Like, this is the climate that's going on at that point, and it's kind of pointing out how it's not a good time for a lot of people. And in
Certified bad time.
Certified bad time. And in this case, with it being Jordan Peele, it's certified bad time through the lens of a black person in the entertainment industry.
Yep. Ugh. So this movie, yes, it's actually scary, but not for the reasons that I would have expected.
Yeah.
So when you said I won't watch this movie again, I probably will, actually. Yeah. I would watch this movie again, which is not something I say about most of the spoopy movies we've ever watched together.
That's true. And I think, like I said, this is a movie that like a critical eye is a really interesting watch with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throwback to our very first episode. I still will not watch Silence of the Lambs again. Once was enough, thanks. Okay, I'm going to shift gears because we could talk about the themes in this forever and ever.
Yes.
But I'm going to talk a little bit about artistic decisions, which I don't often do other than the writing. You do this. Let's talk about the costuming.
Okay.
Did you pick up on it?
Yes.
What the fuck? The black and white and red at the party.
Yeah.
It's in everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest one for me. And I was like, why is everybody arriving in black cars? Why are we all wearing only black and white and red? It's because black and white and red. That's the movie.
Yep.
The movie's in the costumes, damn it.
It is, yeah.
The big reveal is right there because these people are all wearing black and white.
Yeah.
And then the red is ostensibly the blood that is required to make those two things go together.
Yep. Yeah,
That is how I've read that. That's also why that red box is such a big deal.
Yeah.
That's why when we cut back to Rose during the house is on fire and Rose is a dumbass, she's wearing all white.
All white and very much like what I would probably like term as a horseback riding outfit, which is, again, there's an insinuation of people with money in upstate New York that ride horses.
Yep.
The having a lot of money, like it brings about a certain feeling about these people.
Well, and she asks when they're packing if Chris has brought his toothbrush, which I laughed about earlier because I perpetually forget my toothbrush when we travel. But she asks if he's brought his comfy or his cozy clothes. I can't remember. Cozy clothes. Because he's not going to be dressed like everybody else. And it's painfully obvious that he is not dressed like everybody else during this movie.
Yeah.
Right? He's wearing color. Nobody else is. Except Georgina and Walter and Logan.
Yep.
And they're all wearing hats and stuff, which, we get why.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weave and the hats now because of the scars. But they're dressed differently.
They're dressed like black people would have dressed in the 40s.
Exactly. And I wonder why that is. It's almost like they've been taken over by people who were born in the who were alive in the 40s, right? And so you see that and you think, ew, well, this is a really weird throwback. Why would they do this? That's why.
Yeah.
It's because the people are dressing in caricatures of the costuming decision there is giving you the breadcrumbs from the get-go.
Yep.
Right? You don't see it, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
and they have color to their clothes, not like vibrant announcing color. Nobody really has a vibrant color other than the color red.
No, not that I can
colors
recall.
really stick out.
Yeah.
And the red and blue of Rod's TSA car. But it's very clearly a costuming decision, to make those black characters dressed like caricatures of what they would have been in the 40s.
Yep. And
to make every white person attending this party wear black and white and red only.
Yep.
And it's just so smart. Mm-hmm. Again, I just wanted to point out the costuming because it's one of those things that, like, A, it's so well done.
Yeah.
B, you see these moments of, like, it gives you rich white person to start with anyway. Everybody who's in this house is wearing white. Mm-hmm. And then they show up for the black folk bidding party, which is also disgusting when you think about the history of slavery and how black folks were property. Like, it just is so, it's so gross and it's so scary and upsetting. And it's such a good movie. But yeah, we don't have to talk about it in detail.
Yeah.
And it maybe isn't something you pick all the way up on at first if you watch it the first time. But it's like, oh shit, you were giving it to us from the get-go. Yep. That's what this is. Mm-hmm. It's so smart. It's
very smart.
And since we're talking about so smart, let's take a quick talk about, holy shit, the soundtrack.
Yes. So there are only 3 songs credited. And I took note of this when the credits were rolling. There's only 3 songs that are actually in the movie. This isn't a soundtrack full of what you could put on a whole album. So we mentioned one. We mentioned I've Had the Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
The other 2 both come really early, and one gets a callback at the end.
It does. The Run Rabbit.
Run Rabbit Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think, and I didn't look this up again, it is a traditional song, and I want to call it like it's not like gospel's the wrong word for it, but I'm going to be very wrong and probably, but I think it is a song that's more of a traditional, like, Southern folk song. I'm being fact checked.
You are, yes. So actually, here's a fun one because I needed to look it up now. Mm-hmm. Run Rabbit Run was initially about a farmer hunting rabbits.
Yep.
But Flanagan and Allen rewrote it during World War II to satirize Hitler.
Interesting. Okay.
It became a popular wartime tune, especially with their humorous take on the lyrics. Mm-hmm. The song was featured in an episode of the classic British sitcom Dad's Army, apparently.
Okay,
so you know. Yeah. The original version was written for a musical review, apparently.
Okay.
So Run Rabbit Run is a 1939 song written by Noel Gay and Ralph Butler. The music was by Noel Gay. The song was originally performed by the British singing and comedy double act Flanagan and Allen, accompanied by the Harry Bidgood Orchestra. Okay. Yeah, so at the beginning of the 1958 film Dunkirk, the modified Run Adolf Run song is performed. So it is Run Rabbit Run to start with.
And then it becomes...
And then it later becomes satirized to be Run Adolf Run.
Okay.
Run Rabbit Run appears in a million places.
Yeah, it makes sense if it was a kind of a cultural touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
The version used in Get Out is the original version.
Yeah, and I noticed that name made sense. Okay.
Yep. So there you go.
And the other song.
I didn't catch the name of the other song, but yes.
Oh, you know the other song. It's Childish Gambino. It's Redbone. So
yes.
Stay woke.
Yeah,
be discreet. Yeah, and that song actually wasn't that old when this movie came out. I want to say it either came out the same year or the year before. And it's again, it's a very interesting, like, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino.
Love him.
Donald Glover is fantastic and is also a person that has become someone that was known for comedy, known as being on the show Community, known as being a writer on 30 Rock for Tina Fey, and really then also had a hip-hop career, continues to have a music career, and also has then gone on to do more, like, quote-unquote prestigious television and other things. So he's had a career that him and Jordan Peele are kind of walking the same line in a lot of ways.
Oh, similar, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a couple of years out from him making the song This Is America, which is dealing with a lot of the same issues that this movie is. But it's like Redbone as a song is a throwback funk song that like Donald Glover wasn't doing before. He was rapping and doing hip hop. And Redbone and that whole Awaken My Love album is very like, it is like a funkadelic Sly and the Family Stone type of thing.
I do love that album. You're right.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal song, and very, very like timely in a way that it came out around this time, but also like fits the mood perfectly.
Yeah, timely in the talking about the continued certified bad time TM. Yeah, it's so well placed. Mm-hmm. Every choice of song that isn't score.
Yeah.
Right? Because the score is also beautifully well done.
It is, yeah.
Like the way the score, I can't remember, there's one moment, I don't think I wrote it down, but Chris is like going to his phone and there's this very like foreboding music happening. Mm-hmm. And then he opens his phone and there's a message from Rod and it cuts. It doesn't fade. It just cuts immediately. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, the score and the phone call cut at the same time.
Yeah, it's great. So well done.
Yeah. Reminds me a lot of I mentioned The Zone of Interest on the New York Times list.
God, I love that movie too.
Yeah, we watched that one. That's also a certified bad time. But the music in that one,
the scoring and sound Michael in that Levy, movie are so well done as well.
And it does. Yeah, and it also is another Jonathan Glazer movie, Under the Skin, which I've seen and I don't believe you've seen, with Scarlett Johansson.
Add that to the list.
Michael Levy also does the music in that one. They're great, and it is the same kind of thing where you're just like, oh boy, this really punctuates what's going on. Like it's not just a background score like you might get more in a Christopher Nolan film. This is like score and sound as character.
I was gonna say the score, the sound, and the soundtrack are their own being in this, and it's super important.
Yeah.
The Run Rabbit Run though I thought was like so beautifully
chef's kiss
used, because the first time you hear that is when Andre's trying to get away.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's being dragged away from the camera, and that's the music that's playing from inside the car.
And then when Chris is leaving the house, well, it's catching fire and everybody's been killed for the most part, and he's being shot at by Rose, it's Run Rabbit Run playing in the car, because it's the same car.
Yeah.
But it's just so well done. Mm-hmm. Like, I all the other sounds, all the other score, and the way that it cuts in and out, and the way that it's placed is perfect. Mm-hmm. But that one is haunting in the way it's used.
And it also doesn't do the thing that a lot of horror movies, I feel, do the jump scare with the big crazy violin hit like it's in
there
Psycho.
Was none of that. And maybe that's why I didn't jump as much, or that part didn't scare me as badly, because the sound didn't. Mm-hmm.
Like any of the times that Georgina had those ones, it was that, but subtle. It was just like plunk. Plunk. Like it's just here. Yeah, it's the little bits.
It subverts your expectations, but it's still unsettling.
Yes.
But yeah, it's incredibly well done. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I thought Run Rabbit Run in particular required a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. Real good choice.
I think I've exhausted all of the things I wanted to talk about, but probably not, because you have other things. But...
no, I think this is a movie we could talk about for 5 hours. I think
we've probably talked for 3 already.
There's so much to talk about. So one thing that I think, again, watching this for a second time, something that, here's a question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
There's a lot of bad actors, not like bad actors as people, not bad actors as the actor doing a bad job in the movie.
There's a lot of characters who are bad actors in the sense that they're bad faith actors. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Who in this movie is the most terrifying to you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because there's a lot of options.
They're all pretty fucking terrifying. Mm-hmm. I think Rose is the most terrifying.
Yes. Who would you say would be the next most terrifying person?
That's a great question. Rose is the scariest of the bunch.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Missy.
So, as I'm thinking this in my head, I agree with you completely. And I actually would then place the third scariest person as Georgina. And the reason behind that, and this time around I was like, oh man, this is something, is that all of the men in the Armitage family are like, they're doing something, a neurosurgeon, a doctor, founding the Coagula collective, whatever's going on. They're doing a thing that you can look at and go like, yes, they're doing it for a really bad reason, but there's expertise in there, and there's something in there that they could probably delude themselves into going, but I'm doing this for the greater good of some kind. None of the women have that.
Ooh, that's an interesting gender politics situation, isn't
like,
it?
Georgina as grandma, you don't really get a lot in there. You get the moment where, she's apologizing to Chris because
she unplugged his phone.
And you can tell, like, he relates to her, and she has that moment where she wants to say something and chokes back the word. And that's the real her, not the, like, trying to get out like Logan did after the photograph. And
like Walter did after he has a photo taken of him, and that's why he snaps and shoots Rose and then himself. Yeah.
And she has the one tear that comes down, which is the telltale sign with anybody that's been hypnotized. And then she immediately, oh, no. She knows the evil that's going on, and is the one that is going to cover it up with the niceness.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I'm going to lie to your face with that. Then you have Missy, that is in a profession as well, but she is blatantly disregarding any medical, like, good faith of any kind. Like, she is just randomly out there to hypnotize whoever she feels like she's going to trick them
the Hippocratic Oath does not apply to Missy.
Yeah. And then Rose, who you're right, is the sociopath of all sociopaths.
She's the scariest one of all of them.
And she is. And she has that part where Rod calls Chris's phone, and she answers after they've already got Chris locked up in the basement. And she is, like, stone-faced in their living room as the rest of the family's watching her do this. She is showing no emotion, but her voice is. And it is entirely creepy. And then she's in the bedroom looking up the black basketball player on her cell phone, sipping a glass of milk with a straw, and the trophies behind her. Like, there is, and even at the end when she does eventually meet her demise, like, she's shot in the gut, but she's not quite dead. After Walter gets pitch taken, he turns the gun on himself. Chris is now trying to get away, but he sees that she's still struggling to try and get the gun. He moves the gun away from her, and Chris goes to strangle her. And there's this moment when that is happening, and it's very, very uncomfortable, but she starts smiling.
Yeah, she crazy.
Because she's like, oh, you people really are who you are. That's the implication to me of her character. And it's like, oh, you are really evil in this.
Well, and you really get that I think that's the part that was the scariest for me, is that he's trying to strangle her, because that's all he has left really at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else is he going to do?
Yeah.
And this woman has tried to kill him. And the flashing lights show up, and you go back to that cop from the beginning who's asked him for his ID, and you think, oh, fuck me.
Yeah.
Now there is now there's this black man strangling a white woman in cop lights. What is going to happen to this man? And thankfully it's Rod.
It's Rod.
Rod
TSA.
the Savior. Rod the Savior, I believe is how I've written his name. So we didn't need white saviors at all.
We need TSA.
We don't need that generally.
They handle their
We need
shit.
Rod. We don't need TSA in general. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. But no, I found that really interesting, because that, like, there's a real subtlety there of, like, not a lot of women characters. Even at the party when they're asking all those really uncomfortable
it's often
questions.
the men talking.
The men are asking, like, oh, your physical prowess and this, and the women want to know what it's like to sleep with a black man. Yeah. And it's like, oh boy, there's some really, like...
It's an interesting commentary, whether intended or not. And Jordan Peele, I don't suspect, did anything in this movie he didn't intend, but an interesting commentary on how gender politics work.
Yep.
And how women have often been accused of being the manipulative ones behind the scenes.
Totally.
And utilizing their ability to connect with people on an emotional level to manipulate situations to be what they want.
Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, Jordan Peele I believe I don't know if they're still together. I think they
Yes,
are.
yeah.
He is married or together with Chelsea Peretti.
Married to Chelsea Peretti,
Married
I
to
believe.
Chelsea Peretti, yeah, who is also a comedian. Hilarious. She is a longtime cast member of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They like ran in the same comedy circles and are, again, like, they're hilarious. Like, any interview you see with them together at the same time, like, to be a fly on the wall in their home is probably the funniest the most you would laugh ever. But it also gives you, like, yeah, there is very definitely some lived experience in a lot of what comes out in this movie. Like, shirt rings pretty true.
Yeah, and they got married the year before this movie was released.
Yeah.
They started dating in 2013. I looked it up just now. I needed to fact check us. Yeah, no, it's interesting that there's this underlying gender politics that I didn't really even pick up on because I was so focused on the other terrifying parts of this.
Yeah.
And what does that say about women? And I think, this is coming out live in real time, people. What does that say about the ability of white women to manipulate a situation? And come with me on this journey. We'll talk about people like what happened to Emmett Till, right? Because later that woman, who I don't know her name off the top of my head, and frankly I don't want to look it up, she doesn't deserve it, but she's the reason that he was killed because she said he whistled at her.
Yep.
And he did not. But that was a white woman manipulating that situation.
Yep.
And up to and including all the social media posts of quote-unquote Karens who call the cops, who manipulate situations, who go on racist rants, do these awful things. What does this say about not just the manipulation power of women, but what does this say about the power that white women have to destroy black folks and black men in particular?
Yep. Yeah, it's again, there's a lot in this movie that is really very carefully thought out.
It's so well written and so well shot, and just it's so smart and well done.
Yeah.
That you could probably talk about this movie for days and days.
Totally. And I'm sure you could go to film school, study this screenplay over and over again.
You should.
It's really, really, really well written. The only other part in watching this again that stuck out in my brain as a like, oh, right, there's a little more to this, is early on in the scene you mentioned about after they've hit the deer.
Yes.
And the police officer's there and he asks to see Chris's identification as well, and Rose is sticking up for him.
Yeah.
Well, Rose is now sticking up for him because she doesn't want the police to trace anything back to a Chris Washington being there. Because when a missing person report comes out soon...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I again didn't really think of that the first time around. There were a few other parts I was like, oh yeah, the breadcrumbs here. But yeah, she's asserting herself and the power she has in that situation and that dynamic because she's covering her tracks.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but also you kind of wonder if... Because a lot of what's happened in the last 8 years since this movie was released, and obviously before that, but we've definitely had a lot of conversations, especially something like post-2020, about police brutality. And it's been happening for far longer than that, and I don't mean to erase any history here. But when you think about police brutality, you immediately jump to the police is the bad guy in this situation. Yeah. And he is. Like, there's no erasing that he's also got these biases he's operating off of, for sure. But because of how it's positioned, that's the thing you're focusing on.
Yep. And that's the brilliance of this movie in so many ways, is that when you look back on it, you go,
oh shit, it was there this whole time, but you were so busy focusing on the other thing. Yeah. Which, isn't that just a fucking commentary on our whole lives? Yes. We're so busy focusing on the wrong things, or the obvious things, or the things that are immediately pressing, that we don't pay attention to the systemic building blocks upon which all of this happens and we need to fix. Yeah.
And I think I think that's why this movie's grown in stature in 8 years. That just because it's gonna be one of those, and I think you could probably put it on the same place as something like Do the Right Thing, that it, you know, the message and the environment that it's talking about doesn't necessarily go away. It's just evolved. And it is a comment. It's holding a mirror up to society, and it doesn't matter that we're 8 years later. Doesn't matter that we're almost 40 years later than Do the Right Thing. Like, you hold that mirror up, and there's something that you recognize, and that's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's deeply unsettling and unfortunately unsurprising.
But it's also funny as hell in spots.
And
there is some
super fucking well done.
And in spots where it is uncomfortable, and it makes it okay to laugh in some of those spots. Like having, like I said, Rod in this movie takes this movie from a 10 out of 10 to a 15 out of 10.
Yeah. And if he's not there, I think the central tenet, not the central tenet of the plot, but without Rod doing what Rod's doing, this is a very different movie.
Yeah. And it's always going to be a movie about paranoia, but now it's a movie about paranoia with a character in it that's mocking the paranoia until he realizes the paranoia is real.
Yeah.
And does his thing as a TSA officer because he has the same training as a detective. Like, he is a ludicrous character that ends up being the smartest and most heroic person in the movie. The voice of reason. Yeah. So it's something in there that really takes this movie to a whole different level, especially in the end when you just now have your main character locked in the basement and passed out from hypnosis. What are you going to do? It's like, well, now we got Rod. We got Rod, and Rod is going to do TSA proud.
Which Rod's done everyone proud in this movie.
So, fun time at the movies.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, listen, the 5 stirred teacups out of 5 would watch again, which I often don't say about scary movies.
Yep.
It is not a fun time.
No.
As I said before about Eddington as well, if you want a movie that has escapism and or an uplifting message, not for you.
Not this one.
Not this movie, not Eddington, but this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it actually took me this long to watch it, but I can because that's what I do. Mm-hmm. It's just go watch it. Find it on one of the streaming platforms. Buy it. I don't know. Hang out with friends.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Get out. Absolutely see it.
Yep. It's wonderful. I'm really glad I got to show it to you. It's also one of those, it's the new age Sixth Sense in a way. Where it's the movie that, when you watch it the first time, it's a real aha, and you'll never have that again. But when you go back to it again and again, it's like, oh, it was there the whole time.
Wait, sorry, what happens in Sixth Sense?
Bruce Willis washes his car.
Oh.
And it's absolutely perfect, and Haley Joel Osment is a big fan.
Oh, good. Okay.
The end. That's all that
great.
happens.
That's how the movie ends.
And M. Night Shyamalan had no career afterwards.
Has never made a movie with a twist ending ever.
Ever.
Okay, well, let's not go into how we feel about M. Night. Let's move on to what we're doing next time.
Yes, so this, again, was a movie that was a little out of Jess's comfort zone. And the next one, I'm going to be a little more out of my comfort zone.
Although with less scary. However, I'm intrigued to see how this goes. And in an abrupt shift in tone, we're going to do The Proposal.
The Proposal with Miss Sandra Bullock, Mr. Ryan Reynolds, Miss Betty White.
The absolute fucking legend that is Betty White. Malin Ackerman and varying other wonderful humans.
Oh, I didn't know Malin Ackerman is in it.
Oh, it's so good.
Nice.
You just wait. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on The Proposal next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. We do have our Instagram if you want to follow when the next episode's coming out at I Can't Believe You Haven't Seen. If you are a Letterboxd user, I have a Letterboxd account at Maddie236. And I'm also a fanatical physical media collector, and I have my own podcast for that called Cinema on a Shelf, if you are interested in checking that out. We have links kind of in all of our social media stuff about it, but until next time with The Proposal.
Thanks for listening.
Take care.